This is the guy that wants to create a debt commission, a bipartisan debt commission, and get at the roots of our spending problem. That takes courage.
Ohio agriculture, U.S. agriculture, rural America cannot under any circumstances let Jim Jordan become Speaker of the House of Representatives. No way. No wonder former Speaker John Boehner labeled Jim Jordan a legislative terrorist.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
Day 2 wraps up on the real House Republicans. I'm telling you, if Bravo is watching, it could be a series.
Confusing the American people. They think this whole place is a circus up here now.
I mean, think about it. We got the Speaker that never was, George Santos.
He's an animal, like holding a child. He is a fucking terrorist sympathizer.
We got Democrats cheering. And Jim Jordan, well, waiting still. I think things change moment to moment with the Republican Party.
The tellers agree in their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 433, of which the Honorable Jim Jordan of the state of Ohio has received 199. The Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 212.
But it is outside of the chaos that I want to draw your attention for a wee minute to the opinion of those very familiar with Jim Jordan and who vocally oppose the prospect of a Speaker Jim Jordan. This is Christopher Gibbs, a farmer in rural Ohio, just a few miles from where Jim Jordan began his political career. But outside of that, he's also a former GOP chair and GOP judge before he's immediately called a Democrat shill. But he's someone who has paid close attention to the political trajectory of jacketless, always angered House Republican Jim Jordan and has something to say on why he should not be Speaker.
Hi, I'm Chris Gibbs. I'm an Ohio farmer, and I'll get right to the point. Ohio agriculture, U.S. agriculture, rural America cannot under any circumstances let Jim Jordan become Speaker of the House of Representatives. Jordan's political career was created just 11 miles down the road from me in the mid-1990s by local businessmen who needed a representative to do their bidding. He's been my state rep, my state senator, and now my congressman for going on 29 years. I know I'm just a farmer and I don't know much about nothing except corn and cows, but I do know this. Jim Jordan's career path must not lead to the speakership. Now's the time for ag interest and rural Americans to clear their throats and get a voice and sound the alarm that Jim Jordan cannot be trusted as Speaker to protect the interest of rural America. And here's why. Now stick with me now. U.S. agriculture is national security interest that affects and impacts all Americans regardless if you live in a rural area or in town. Food security, natural resource security, clean energy security is national security. Because of the dysfunction in the U.S. House, the foundation legislation that guides all of your U.S. policies on your food, your fiber, and your natural resources was left to expire. You may know that as the Farm Bill. Did you know that Jim Jordan has voted against every farm bill in his congressional career? Did you know that Jim Jordan and his Freedom Caucus held the last farm bill in 2018 hostage until it died in the House? Did you know that Jim Jordan voted against ensuring every rural American had access to broadband, which would have led directly to a higher standard of living for rural Americans? No wonder former Speaker John Boehner labeled Jim Jordan a legislative terrorist. Speaker of the House? No way. Don't reward Jim Jordan. Call your GOP representative and make sure Jim Jordan's career is stopped dead in its tracks today. Now, the sun's shining, but it's going to rain. I got to get back to work. We'll see you.
Now, as we've come to expect, it is one thing to hear this from Democrats on the other side of the aisle.
Will actually vote to install a man who voted to overturn the United States' election and who supports a national abortion ban to be Speaker of the House and second in line to the presidency.
He supports an extreme agenda and is hell-bent on banning abortion nationwide, gutting Medicare, gutting Social Security, and giving cover to January 6th attackers. Those aren't the values that we share. If we don't see a speaker elected in this round, there's going to be another candidate and another internal Republican conference vote and a secret ballot, and the country can't afford more delays and more chaos. 15 days should be enough.
You know, it's still true, the man is a January 6th extremist who wants a national abortion ban, but to hear this from someone so close to home is telling. Not only is he struggling to rally fellow Republicans around the idea of his speakership.
And I think that if we have a presidential candidate who right now is leading, who denies that he lost the election and was obviously behind what happened on January 6th, and we have a speaker in a similar situation, we have 20 Republicans sitting in Joe Biden districts right now, districts that Joe Biden won in 2020, and those 20 Republicans are going to be at risk. There's no way we win the majority if the message we send to the American people is that we believe that the election was stolen, and we believe that January 6th was okay. It was a tour of the Capitol.
But clearly constituents too. And speaking of, let's remind ourselves of how he was perceived as a wrestling coach in Ohio, as opposed to the whitewashed version his Republican colleague tried to paint yesterday.
Jim is the voice of the American people who have felt voiceless for far too long. Whether as Judiciary Chair, conservative leader, or representative for his constituents in West Central Ohio, whether on the wrestling mat or in the committee room, Jim Jordan is strategic, scrappy, tough, and principled. He is a mentor, a worker, and above all, he is a fighter. And the American people know, we know, that Jim Jordan is a winner.
The funny thing is that when people always call Jim Jordan a fighter, and I always wonder who he's fighting for, because he had a real opportunity to fight for us and the people that he coached and the people that he recruited at the Ohio State, and all he's done is just turned his back on us. So I don't know what the fighter thing is. I know he used to be a fighter. I know he used to be a good wrestler, but he's not a good fighter for anyone else that I know of.
And I've said this before, will I hold my breath and wait for the same Republicans who are on a press tour at the moment voicing their dismay at Speaker Jordan suddenly rallying behind Jeffries under the common goal of bipartisan stability? No, because I may die.
Let's go back to how it got here. We wouldn't be here if every single Democrat didn't vote with 8 Republicans to shut this place down. That's it. No,
Republicans voted against Jim Jordan today on the floor, including 2 votes from somebody who's not even a member anymore.
My opinion is that after the pushing and shoving, something will give, as it did on the 36,750th vote for Kevin McCarthy. Now, I'd be happy to be proved wrong, but I don't think it's going to go that way.
Expectations are at rock bottom.
But nonetheless, as Democrats have pointed out, the fact that they're already so divided, that their best 2 candidates were an election denying extremist and a racist.
This tells you everything that you need to know about the Republican Party. I mean, think about it like this. Each district is approximately 766,000 people, almost 1 million people that we represent. And you have 435 representatives. And on the Republican side, you have well over 200 representatives. And the best 2 that they could find are a guy that covered up sexual abuse, which, hey, this absolutely makes sense why Trump decided that that would be his guy, right? Like the guy who's just been found liable of sexual abuse, right? So that guy, or we've got to go with the other guy who loves to pal around with David Duke. And for those who don't know who David Duke is, he racist, think KKK. That is David Duke. This is who the Republican Party has to offer the American people. This is their creme de la creme. And we wonder why our country is crumbling in front of our eyes.
Shows where they are as a party more than any vote ever could.
Windscreen. We gotta wait for the diva. Potential big moment, diva. Potential big moment for short people with McHenry. Potential big moment for us.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.